In the United States, an older adult has a stroke every 10 minutes. But here's the part that most people never hear about. You could be unknowingly raising your risk simply by taking some of the most trusted supplements in your cabinet. Recent studies are now showing that a single widely used supplement, which is still recommended for millions of seniors, could increase the risk of stroke by up to 347%, especially when taken incorrectly or in excess. The most alarming fact? Nearly 99% of older adults are completely unaware of this danger. That's because most people still believe stroke is caused by junk food, high cholesterol, or genetics. But the truth is more complicated. One of the hidden culprits behind strokes is actually vitamin overdose. Many well-intentioned vitamins and supplements, taken daily for heart health, brain function, or joint support, may be interfering with your body's chemistry in harmful ways. These supplements can thicken your blood, raise homocysteine levels, alter circulation, or even weaken blood vessel walls. And unlike long-term lifestyle diseases, these effects don't take years to manifest. In fact, some of these vitamins can change your blood composition within a matter of hours. That's why doctors and stroke centers are now sounding the alarm, especially for those over the age of 60, urging people to reevaluate their supplement routines. Symptoms like sudden fatigue, lightheadedness, confusion, or blurry vision may not be signs of aging after all. They could be early indicators that the blood flow to your brain is already compromised. The real danger here isn't from some obscure, hard-to-find supplement. These risky ingredients are in the very multivitamins that many seniors take each day. Often marketed as brain boosters or essential for aging, they're sold over the counter without warnings about long-term risks. Some are even prescribed to stroke survivors without fully acknowledging how they might interfere with blood flow or clotting. One vitamin in particular stands out: synthetic vitamin E, often labeled as DL-alpha tocopherol. This form of vitamin E is commonly found in inexpensive multivitamins and is believed by many to support brain, skin, and heart health. But here's the shocking truth. When taken in its synthetic form, especially in large doses, vitamin E can increase the risk of a fatal brain hemorrhage. Synthetic vitamin E differs from its natural counterpart, which is called D-alpha tocopherol, and found alongside other helpful compounds known as tocopherols and tocotrienols. Your body doesn't process synthetic E the same way it does natural forms. In fact, synthetic vitamin E may actually block your body from absorbing the beneficial types it truly needs. And that's where things start to get dangerous. Natural vitamin E, especially gamma tocopherol, has strong anti-inflammatory properties that help protect your blood vessels and regulate clotting. But when synthetic E dominates your system, it suppresses these protective forms. That imbalance makes your arteries more prone to inflammation, hardening, and dangerous clot formation. It doesn't stop there. Synthetic vitamin E also has a blood-thinning effect. While that might not seem like a problem for a healthy young person, it becomes a serious risk for seniors, especially those already taking blood thinners like clopidogrel, warfarin, or even aspirin. A major study published in the British Medical Journal found that vitamin E supplementation increased the risk of hemorrhagic stroke by 22%. For seniors whose blood vessels naturally become more fragile with age, this means the risk of brain bleeds could be even higher. And many won't notice the signs until it's too late. Early symptoms can include unusual bruising, sudden dizziness, vision changes, or frequent nosebleeds that are hard to stop. But in some cases, there's no warning at all, just a sudden blackout or a sharp, unbearable headache. That's what makes synthetic vitamin E so dangerous. It builds up gradually in the body, and within just a few days can flip from helpful to harmful. Combine that with dehydration or high blood pressure, and the risk multiplies. So what's the solution? It starts with reading labels. If your supplement says DL-alpha tocopherol, it's synthetic. That's your sign to stop using it. Instead, look for natural vitamin E that clearly states D-alpha tocopherol with mixed tocopherols. These full-spectrum formulations provide the protection your brain and blood vessels actually need, especially when they include gamma and delta forms. Many people assume that because a vitamin is available over the counter, it's automatically safe. But that's not always true, especially as we age. What might benefit someone in their 30s could be dangerous for someone in their 60s or 70s. Stroke is not just a result of poor lifestyle choices or bad luck. Sometimes it's the quiet accumulation of daily habits, like taking the wrong kind of supplement. And because the early signs are often mistaken for normal aging, many people don't realize the risk until it's too late. That's why it's crucial for seniors to rethink their supplement routines, especially when symptoms like fatigue or confusion begin to show up. The bottom line is that not all vitamins are created equal. What matters most is the form, the dosage, and how it interacts with your unique health profile. As the science continues to evolve, so should our choices. The goal isn't to avoid vitamins altogether, but to be smarter and safer with them. Natural forms, taken from whole foods or carefully sourced supplements, are far more likely to support your health without unexpected consequences. So take a moment today to review your supplement labels. Talk to your doctor if you're unsure, because the very pill you take to stay healthy might be quietly raising your risk without you even knowing it. Better still, the safest way to get your vitamin E is directly from whole foods. Just 1 ounce of sunflower seeds can provide over 7 milligrams of natural vitamin E. Foods like avocados, spinach, hazelnuts, and almonds are also rich sources. These options don't just contain vitamin E. They provide it within a full antioxidant matrix that your body knows how to absorb and use properly. Unlike synthetic supplements, food-based nutrients are delivered in a form your body was designed to handle. Still, if you're currently on any blood thinners, it's critical to consult your doctor before making any changes to your vitamin intake. But don't wait for symptoms to appear. Stroke risk often builds silently. The first step in protecting the tiny, fragile blood vessels in your brain is to eliminate hidden dangers, and one of the most overlooked is synthetic vitamin E. Now we move on to another vitamin that seems healthy on the surface, but in excess can silently damage blood vessels in the brain, vitamin A, specifically in the form of retinol supplements. Many seniors are familiar with this vitamin under names like retinol palmitate or retinol acetate, and it's commonly found in multivitamins or in supplements designed for eye and skin health. However, high doses of this synthetic form of vitamin A can cause blood vessels inside the brain to narrow, raising the risk of ischemic stroke and sudden spikes in blood pressure. The scary part is that vitamin A is stored in the liver, and once it accumulates beyond a certain point, it can start to damage your body without any warning signs. Unlike beta-carotene, the plant-based precursor found in foods like carrots, synthetic vitamin A is preformed. That means your body doesn't regulate how much of it is absorbed. Once it enters your system, it starts building up, and it's not easily flushed out. This buildup is especially dangerous in the brain, where capillaries are already small and vulnerable. The excess vitamin A begins to poison the lining of these blood vessels, leading to oxidative stress, microvascular constriction, and elevated intracranial pressure. A 2014 study published in the journal Stroke found that people with higher serum retinol levels had a significantly increased risk of ischemic stroke. Other research has linked long-term use of high-dose vitamin A with symptoms like headaches, nausea, blurred or double vision, nosebleeds, and even seizures. These can all be signs of raised intracranial pressure caused by impaired circulation and fluid imbalance. The danger is even greater for seniors. As we age, our liver becomes less efficient at processing and removing excess nutrients. That means even modest daily doses of synthetic vitamin A can build up to toxic levels within weeks or months. What makes this worse is that many people consume more vitamin A than they realize. Foods like liver, cod liver oil, fortified breakfast cereals, and enriched dairy products all contain significant amounts. So, if you're taking a supplement on top of that, the total intake could easily double or triple the recommended amount. So what's the safer route? If you're not treating a confirmed deficiency, avoid any supplement that lists retinol palmitate or retinol acetate as its vitamin A source. Instead, get your vitamin A from beta-carotene-rich whole foods like sweet potatoes, spinach, carrots, and butternut squash. Your body only converts what it needs from these plant-based sources and safely eliminates the rest. This natural regulation helps avoid toxic buildup, especially in the sensitive tissues of the brain. If you're taking vitamin A for vision support, consider switching to a blend that includes beta-carotene, lutein, and zeaxanthin, compounds that are shown to protect the eyes without compromising blood flow to the brain. If you've been taking synthetic vitamin A for more than 3 months, Speak with your doctor right away and request blood tests to check your retinol levels and liver enzymes. The earlier a buildup is detected, the easier it is to reverse. This small change should protect not only your brain health, but potentially your life. Now, let's talk about another commonly misunderstood supplement, ginkgo biloba. For decades, ginkgo has been marketed as a natural brain booster, praised for its ability to enhance memory, sharpen focus, and slow cognitive decline. It's been especially popular among older adults. But new studies are revealing a very different story. When taken in high doses or in synthetic forms, ginkgo biloba may actually raise the risk of hemorrhagic stroke, particularly in individuals over the age of 65 who are also using blood pressure medication or blood thinners. Here's what's happening inside the body. Ginkgo contains natural compounds called ginkgolides and bilobalides. These act as vasodilators and blood thinners, helping to increase blood circulation in the brain. When used in small, controlled doses, these compounds might offer some benefits. But when taken in large quantities or combined with other medications, they can have dangerous effects. Thinning the blood too much in older adults can lead to uncontrollable bleeding, especially in the small, delicate vessels of the brain. And when you factor in the natural aging of blood vessels, like increased plaque buildup or weakened arterial walls, the risk of a hemorrhagic event goes up significantly. According to a 2018 study published in Neurology, high-dose ginkgo supplements were associated with a 38% higher risk of hemorrhagic stroke in people over 60. That is a staggering number, especially considering how many seniors take ginkgo daily without supervision. What makes matters worse is that these supplements are often taken with other blood-thinning agents like aspirin, warfarin, or even over-the-counter NSAIDs, such as ibuprofen. The interaction between ginkgo and these medications can be unpredictable and, in some cases, deadly. The danger isn't just theoretical. Many people report experiencing sudden dizziness, blurred vision, or even brief fainting spells while taking ginkgo. These might seem like minor symptoms, but they could be early signs of reduced blood flow or minor hemorrhaging. And because ginkgo is sold as a natural remedy, most users don't suspect it could be the cause. That's what makes it so risky. Just like with synthetic vitamin E and vitamin A, the problem isn't always in the idea of the supplement. It's in the form, the dosage, and the lack of oversight. If you or someone you care about is using ginkgo biloba, especially in doses above 120 milligrams daily, it's time to take a closer look. Make sure to talk with a healthcare provider before continuing. Blood work and medication reviews can determine whether ginkgo is safe in your specific case. And remember, memory support can come from other sources as well, like physical activity, proper hydration, and a diet rich in omega-3s and antioxidants. You don't have to gamble with your brain's safety to stay sharp. Understanding which supplements pose hidden dangers can help you make smarter, safer choices and protect your health as you age. More concerning, a published case report in the Journal of Geriatric Pharmacotherapy described a senior citizen who took ginkgo biloba along with a daily low-dose aspirin and ended up suffering a spontaneous brain bleed. This is not an isolated incident. Millions of older adults are taking these combinations every day, completely unaware of the potential risks. But the problem isn't just ginkgo itself. It's the mixture, the inconsistent purity, and the varying dosages that create a dangerous situation. Many over-the-counter ginkgo supplements contain fluctuating levels of the active compounds, and some are even artificially fortified to make them seem more effective. This makes it incredibly difficult to know how much you're actually consuming and how it may interact with other medications you're taking. When ginkgo-related complications arise, the symptoms can be unpredictable and alarming. Elderly individuals may suddenly feel dizzy, begin slurring their words, become confused, or experience a sharp, severe headache out of nowhere. These are not just minor side effects. They can be the first signs of a serious, potentially fatal brain hemorrhage. So what can be done to stay safe? The first step is to stop and examine any ginkgo product you're using. Read the label carefully. If the product doesn't specify a standardized extract, such as one containing 24% flavone glycosides and 6% terpene lactones, then it's time to reconsider. Vague labeling is a red flag. Without precise standardization, you're essentially gambling with your health. Speak with your healthcare provider about safer alternatives for memory support. Options like low-dose omega-3 fatty acids, bacopa monnieri, or ceticoline may provide similar cognitive benefits without the elevated risk of internal bleeding. It's also important to understand that thinning the blood isn't always the best solution for improving memory. The hippocampus, the brain region critical for memory, relies more on consistent oxygen delivery than on reduced blood viscosity. Natural foods like beets and arugula help by boosting nitric oxide levels, improving blood flow in a more regulated and gentle manner. These foods also enhance respiratory function and sleep quality, both of which are essential for cognitive health and memory retention. Let's now move to another concerning vitamin that is often promoted as a natural energy booster, but can be harmful in excess, particularly for those over 65, vitamin B6. Most people think of B6 as completely safe. It's commonly found in multivitamins, nerve health supplements, and even in energy drinks. It's marketed as something that supports metabolism, brain function, and the nervous system. But what many older adults don't know is that excessive intake of B6, especially from supplements, can cause hidden nerve damage and dramatically increase the risk of stroke over time. Vitamin B6 plays a key role in creating neurotransmitters and processing amino acids, both essential for a healthy brain and nervous system. But when consumed in excess, especially above 100 milligrams per day, it becomes neurotoxic. This danger is amplified in older adults. As the body ages, the liver's efficiency in eliminating excess water-soluble vitamins like B6 declines. What once would have been flushed out may now linger in the body, building up to unsafe levels. The result? Damage to peripheral nerves, weakening of blood vessel tone, and an increase in inflammatory stress throughout the vascular system. Numerous studies have documented this effect. People who take high doses of B6 over long periods have nearly double the risk of developing sensory neuropathy, a condition characterized by tingling, numbness, burning sensations, and balance issues. One important study from 2017, published in Clinical Nutrition, tracked over 5,000 elderly individuals and confirmed this increased risk. But even more alarming are the findings related to vascular health. Long-term B6 supplementation, especially when combined with other B vitamins, has been linked to rising levels of homocysteine, a toxic amino acid associated with arterial inflammation and elevated stroke risk. Research published in the journal Stroke shows that excess homocysteine, even in individuals with normal cholesterol and blood pressure, can silently harden arteries in the brain, making them more prone to clotting and ischemic stroke. And the symptoms often strike without warning. Seniors might experience tremors, tingling of limbs, or sudden dizziness when standing, all signs that something may be off with circulation or nerve function. But because these symptoms can be subtle, many people brush them off as normal aging, never realizing the underlying issue. Another factor making this issue worse is the sheer number of hidden sources of B6 in the average diet and supplement routine. B6 is present in fortified breakfast cereals, energy drinks, daily multivitamins, and individual supplements for nerve health. When you total all these sources, it's easy to exceed 200 or even 300 milligrams per day, 3 times higher than the maximum safe limit. And that's especially dangerous when time-release B6 supplements are involved. These versions slowly release vitamin B6 into the bloodstream over several hours, which means it can accumulate in your system without any obvious signs until it's too late. So what can be done to avoid these risks? The first step is to tally up your total daily intake of vitamin B6 from all sources. Look at every supplement label and add up the milligrams. If you're consuming more than 50 to 100 milligrams per day, you could be putting yourself at risk. Speak with your doctor and ask for a homocysteine blood test. If your levels are high, that's a clear signal to cut back on B6 and instead increase your intake of folate and B12 from food sources like leafy greens, eggs, and legumes. These nutrients help reduce homocysteine naturally and support vascular health without the dangers of synthetic overload. The most important message here is to be aware of the risks that come from supplements you may think are helping. Many seniors are unknowingly overdosing on vitamins that were never intended to be taken in such high quantities. Whether it's ginkgo biloba increasing your risk of bleeding or vitamin B6 slowly damaging your nerves and arteries, These hidden threats can build up silently and only reveal themselves when the damage is already done. Staying informed, reading labels carefully, and consulting your healthcare provider regularly can make all the difference. Your brain's health is worth protecting, and sometimes that means letting go of a supplement that was once thought to be harmless. Next up is vitamin number 2, a supplement that most seniors take daily without realizing that it can significantly increase their risk of stroke, especially once they pass the age of 65. That vitamin is synthetic alpha-tocopherol, also known as synthetic vitamin E. Many older adults believe that vitamin E is universally beneficial. It's advertised as a powerful antioxidant, a heart protector, and a brain booster that can help with aging. But there's a surprising and serious downside that few people know about. When taken in high doses in its synthetic form, vitamin E can actually elevate the risk of stroke, specifically the most dangerous kind, hemorrhagic stroke or bleeding in the brain. Here's where the danger lies. Most over-the-counter multivitamins, especially those marketed to seniors, include the synthetic form of vitamin E, often without clearly stating it. What most people don't realize is that vitamin E is not a single compound. It's a family of 8 different nutrients, including 4 tocopherols and 4 tocotrienols. But synthetic alpha-tocopherol, also called D-alpha tocopherol acetate, is the form that dominates the supplement market. It's cheaper to manufacture and has a longer shelf life, which is why it's so widely used. However, this synthetic version is less bioavailable and more disruptive to the body than its natural counterparts. When synthetic alpha-tocopherol builds up in the body, it doesn't just provide incomplete antioxidant protection. It actually replaces and suppresses the absorption of the other, more beneficial forms of vitamin E. This creates an imbalance that weakens your body's natural clotting mechanisms, thins the blood, and makes you more susceptible to internal bleeding. This is especially dangerous in the brain, where even a small hemorrhage can be life-threatening. One of the largest clinical studies to examine this risk was the ATBC study, which followed nearly 29,000 men. The results were alarming. Those who took synthetic vitamin E had a 22% higher risk of suffering a hemorrhagic stroke. The study also found that consuming more than 400 international units, IU, of vitamin E daily was associated with significantly increased risk of mortality, particularly from bleeding-related complications. A separate study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association, JAMA, confirmed that seniors, many of whom are already on blood thinners like aspirin or warfarin, face even higher risks when they consume synthetic E. These individuals are more likely to have thinner blood, more fragile artery walls, and a reduced ability to recover from sudden internal bleeding. What makes this even more concerning is that the symptoms of a hemorrhagic stroke often come on without warning. Paralysis, sudden vision changes, slurred speech, and severe headaches may be the first signs, but by the time these symptoms show up, the bleeding has usually already begun. The damage may already be done. And because synthetic vitamin E is so common in senior supplements, many people are unknowingly putting themselves at risk each day. If you check your supplement labels and see D-alpha tocopherol listed, you are taking the synthetic form. The safer and more natural version is D-alpha tocopherol, preferably combined with other members of the vitamin E family, like gamma-tocopherol and tocotrienols. These forms work synergistically in the body and offer more complete protection without the harmful effects of synthetic overload. Unless you've been specifically advised otherwise, try to keep your vitamin E intake below 150 IU per day. And if you're already on medications like aspirin, warfarin, or other anticoagulants, it's wise to avoid high-dose vitamin E altogether. Instead of relying on synthetic supplements, you can obtain vitamin E from whole food sources like avocados, spinach, almonds, and sunflower seeds. These foods not only provide a more balanced spectrum of vitamin E compounds, but they also come with supporting nutrients that aid in absorption and work naturally with your body systems. But now, we've reached the number one most surprising and potentially dangerous vitamin that seniors are taking, one that is actually recommended by many doctors, yet may be doing more harm than good, especially when given in excessive doses or in the wrong form. That vitamin is B12, specifically the injectable form known as cyanocobalamin. This might come as a shock, since vitamin B12 is often touted as one of the best brain-supportive vitamins out there. And to be fair, for seniors who are truly deficient, B12 supplementation is crucial. A lack of B12 can lead to severe fatigue, nerve damage, cognitive decline, and even permanent memory loss. But there's a disturbing twist. The most commonly administered version of this vitamin, cyanocobalamin, has been linked to increased stroke risk when taken in excess or too frequently. Cyanocobalamin is the cheapest and most widely used form of B12. It's found in thousands of multivitamins, and it's the standard form used in B12 injections around the world. But it is not a naturally occurring substance in the human body. Before it can be used, your liver must convert it into active forms like methylcobalamin or adenosylcobalamin. In the process of that conversion, a small amount of cyanide is released into the bloodstream. Normally, the body can neutralize and eliminate this cyanide efficiently. However, as we age, and especially if we have weakened liver or kidney function, our ability to detoxify this compound diminishes. That means cyanide and other metabolic byproducts can start to accumulate, placing added stress on blood vessels and the brain. A 2020 study published in the journal Stroke found that seniors with high blood levels of B12, especially those who regularly receive cyanocobalamin injections, were 3 to 5 times more likely to suffer an ischemic stroke. This risk was even higher in individuals who were also consuming high levels of folic acid. Together, these substances were found to cause endothelial dysfunction, increase blood viscosity, and promote clot formation, conditions that are ideal for triggering a stroke. And unlike other risks that build over years, the effects of B12 overload can develop quickly. Warning signs might include sudden disorientation, weakness on one side of the body, slurred speech, facial drooping, changes in vision, or unexplained dizziness following a B12 shot. These symptoms might be brushed off or misattributed to aging, but in some cases, they signal that a clot is already formed or that blood flow to part of the brain is compromised. In a worst-case scenario, a small clot can get lodged in a narrowed artery and cause a microstroke or full-blown ischemic stroke without warning. Now, to be clear, if you have a true B12 deficiency, it must be treated. The consequences of low B12 can be severe and even irreversible. But treatment should be done carefully and with appropriate testing. The best form of B12 for the brain is methylcobalamin. It's already in its active form, doesn't release cyanide, and is far better tolerated over time. Yes, it may cost more, but the safety and long-term benefits are worth it. And unless a blood test has confirmed a deficiency, you should be cautious about loading doses or high-dose supplements that contain more than 1,000 micrograms per pill or injection. For general maintenance, a dose of 250 to 500 micrograms of methylcobalamin, 2 or 3 times a week, is usually sufficient and far less likely to cause harm. If you've been receiving regular B12 injections and also have high blood pressure, poor circulation, memory issues, or a history of stroke, you should talk to your doctor about checking your homocysteine levels. Elevated homocysteine is a clear signal that your body's B12 metabolism might be off balance and could be contributing to clot formation. The bottom line is this: after age 60, the popularity of a vitamin doesn't mean it's safe. Most stroke risk doesn't come from dietary deficiencies. It comes from incorrect doses, the wrong forms of nutrients, or dangerous combinations of medications and supplements. Knowing this can help you make better decisions. If any of what you've read surprised you, take a few minutes to go through your current supplements. Look at the labels. See if you're using any synthetic forms like DL-alpha tocopherol or cyanocobalamin. Consider switching to safer alternatives. If you have any symptoms or concerns, talk to your doctor, request the right tests, and stay proactive. We also want to hear from you. Which of these supplements are you currently using? Are you thinking about switching after learning this information? Share your experiences in the comments. We read every one and respond with personalized advice to help seniors stay sharp, independent, and healthy for years to come.